Hi readers, Chris here. Today I'm going to be going over my top 10 most anticipated book releases for February 2022. I'm sorry I didn't do one back for January. Things just got so crazy around the holidays, but I'm back for February, so let's jump in. Just as a reminder, these books are not in any order other than by publication date, and there is a ton of books that come out every month, so these are just the ones that I am most interested in. So starting with number 1, which is going to be A Lullaby for Witches by Hester Fox. Not an author I've ever heard of before, but this book sounds really fascinating. So I'm just going to read you the description on Amazon, which says, "Once there was a young woman from a well-to-do New England family who never quite fit in with the drawing rooms and parlors of her kin. Called instead to the tangled woods and wild cliffs surrounding her family's estate, Margaret Harlowe grew both stranger and more beautiful as she cultivated her uncanny power. Soon, whispers of witch dogged her footsteps, and Margaret's power began to wind itself with the tendrils of something darker. 150 years later, Augusta Podos takes a dream job at the Harlowe House, a historic home of a wealthy New England family that has been turned into a small museum in Tynemouth, Massachusetts. When Augusta stumbles upon an oblique reference to the daughter of the Harlowes, who has nearly been expunged from historical record, the mystery is too intriguing to ignore. But as she digs deeper, something sinister unfurls from its sleep, a dark power that binds one woman to another across lines of blood and time. If Augusta can't resist its allure, everything she knows and loves, including her very life, could be lost forever." Dun, dun, dun. So I love witches. I love stories about witches. I think this sounds super cool. I love the whole, New England witches, Salem witch trials. Reminds me a little bit of Hocus Pocus. But if you are interested in A Lullaby for Witches, it will be available on February 1st, which is just in a few days. Oh my gosh. Book number 2 is going to be Finlay, Donovan Knocks 'Em Dead. If this looks or sounds familiar to you, it's because this is the sequel to the first book, Finlay, Donovan is Killing It, which I haven't read, but it's been on my Kindle. Like, I bought an e-book of this a while ago. Haven't read it yet, but now that the sequel is coming out, I really want to go back and read it. It's on my list for this year. So in this sequel, Finlay Donovan is once again struggling to finish her next novel and keep her head above water as a single mother of 2. On the bright side, she has her live-in nanny and confidant, Vero, to rely on, and the only dead body that she's dealt with lately is that of her daughter's pet goldfish. Wah. On the not-so-bright side, someone out there wants her ex-husband, Stephen, out of the picture, permanently. Whatever else Stephen may be, he's a good father, but saving him will send her down a rabbit hole of hit women disguised as soccer moms, and a little more involvement with the Russian mob than she'd like. Meanwhile, Vero's keeping secrets, and Detective Nick Anthony seems determined to get back into her life. He may be a hot cop, but Finlay's first priority is preventing her family from sleeping with the fishes, if you know what I mean. And if that means bending a few laws, then so be it. With her next book's deadline looming and her ex-husband to keep alive, Finlay is quickly coming to the end of her rope. She can only hope there isn't a noose at the end of it. If you're not familiar with these stories, they are like kind of mysteries, and I've heard so many good things about the first one. So hopefully this second one lives up to the hype. If you are excited for the hype of book 2, Finlay, Donovan Knocks 'Em Dead will be available on February 1st. Number 3 is going to be This Woven Kingdom by Tahiri Mafi. I'm sure I'm probably pronouncing that right. If this name sounds familiar to you at all, she is the author of the super popular YA Shatter Me series, which again is another book I have on my bookshelf. I've been meaning to read it, just haven't gotten around to it yet. But this new book is set in a new world, and in this world we have Aliza, a disposable servant and not the long-lost heir to the ancient Jinn kingdom, forced to hide in plain sight. The crown prince, Camran, has heard the prophecies foretelling the death of his king, but he never could imagine that the servant girl with the strange eyes, the girl he can't put out of his mind, would one day soon uproot his kingdom and the world. Perfect for fans of Lee Bardugo, Tomi Ayada, and Saba Tahir, this is the explosive first book in a new fantasy trilogy from the New York Times bestselling and National Book Award nominated author Tahira Mafi. So again, this doesn't give away a ton about what this book is about. I kind of like that though. It obviously has some, Middle Eastern influences to it, which sounds super, super cool. I know her Shatter Me series is super popular, so hopefully this new series is just as good. If you're interested in finding that out, This Woven Kingdom will be available on February 1st. Number 4 is going to be Golden Boys by Phil Stamper. I first discovered this author last year when I read one of his other books, whose name I can't remember right at the moment, but I will insert it here. It was a really cute book about a young gay teen trying to find himself. And again, Phil Stamper has another book about young boys, and this one sounds really, really cute. So, it's the summer before senior year. Gabriel, Reese, Sal, and Heath are best friends, bonded in their small, rural town by their queerness, their good grades, and their big dreams. But they have plans for the summer, each about to embark on their own adventure. Gabriel is volunteering at an environmental nonprofit in Boston. Reese is attending design school in Paris, Sal is interning on Capitol Hill for a senator, and Heath is heading to Florida to help out his aunt's boardwalk arcade. What will this season of world-expanding travel and life-changing experiences mean for each of them and for their friendship? Phil Stamper treats readers to an emotionally resonant summer story full of aspirational experiences, sweet romance, and joyously affirming friendship. So it sounds like a classic summer tale, summer adventure story. Sounds super, super cute, obviously around a group of friends. So if this sounds something that is cute to you, Golden Boys will be available on February 8th. Number 5 is going to be Gwendy's Final Task, and I believe that this is supposed to be the last book in the Gwendy's Button trilogy, which is a trilogy I had never heard of until I was looking for books for this list, which is sad because this is a series that Stephen King is involved with. But I didn't know that. But now I do. And I don't know if I'm going to add this series to my list because it's not directly him that's writing it. It's him and Richard Zarmar, who I'm not familiar with at all, probably not even pronouncing that name right, but that's okay. If you've been a fan of the series, you're probably more excited for this one. So in this final book says, when Gwendy Peterson was 12, a mysterious stranger named Richard Ferris gave her a mysterious box for safekeeping. It offered treats and vintage coins, but it was dangerous. Pushing away any of its 7 colored buttons promised death and destruction. Years later, the button box entered Gwendy's life again. A successful novelist and rising political star, she was once again forced to deal with the temptation that the box represented. Now, evil forces seek to possess the button box, and it is up to Senator Gwendy Peterson to keep it from them at all costs. But where can you hide something from such powerful entities? In Gwendy's Final Task, horror giants Stephen King and Richard Sismar take us on a journey from Castle Rock to another famous cursed Maine city to a space station where Gwendy must execute a secret mission to save the world, and maybe all worlds. So again, this sounds like part a typical Stephen King book, but part something else. If you're familiar at all with this series, definitely tell me about it down below because I want to learn more about it. And if you are excited for Gwendy's Final Task, it will be available on February 15th. Number 6 is Moon Witch, Spider King by Marlon James. This is the second book in his Dark Star trilogy, which I have not started yet, but is definitely on my TBR because it sounds absolutely amazing. So this second book is about a character that was in the first one called Sogalon. So Sogalon takes center stage in this new book and gives her own account of what happened to the boy and how she plotted, fought, and triumphed and failed as she looked for him. It's also the story of a centuries-long feud seen through the eyes of a 177-year-old witch that Sogalon had with the Essie, Chancellor to the King. It is said that Essie works so closely with the king that together they are like the 8 limbs of one spider. Essie's power is considerable and deadly. It takes brains and courage to challenge him, which Sogalon does for reasons of her own. Both a brilliant narrative device tells the story told in Black Leopard Red Wolf from the perspective of an adversary and a woman, as well as a fascinating battle between different versions of Empire. Moon Witch, Spider King delves into Sogalon's world as she fights to tell her own story. Part adventure tale, part chronicle of an indomitable woman who bows to no man, it is a fascinating novel that explores power, personality, and the places where they overlap. Dun dun dun! Again, if that doesn't sound cool, I don't know what does. So if you are looking forward to Moon Witch, Spider King, it'll be available on February 15th. Number 7 is going to be Second Star to the Left by Megan Van Dyke. And I believe this one's only coming out in paperback/Kindle, so it might be an independent book. I'm not 100% sure, but the reason that I'm picking this one is because I love Tinkerbell. So, Tinkerbell, banished from her homeland for doing the unthinkable, selling the hottest drug in Neverland, pixie dust, wants absolution. Determined to find a way home, Tink doesn't hesitate to follow the one lead she has, even if that means seducing a filthy pirate to steal precious gems out from under his hook. Get it? Captain Hook believes he's found a real treasure in Tink. Until, that is, he recovers from her pixie dust-laced kiss with a curse that turns the seas against him. With his ship and reputation at the mercy of raging storms, he tracks down the little minx and demands she remove the curse. Too bad she can't. However, the Mermaid Queen has a solution to both their problems, if Tink and Hook work together to retrieve a magical item for her. As they venture into the mysterious Shrouded Isles to find the priceless treasure, their shared nemesis closes in. However, his wrath is nothing compared to the realization that achieving their goal may mean losing something that they never expected, each other. The swagger and adventure of the Pirates of the Caribbean meets the sexy banter of the Hating Games in this healthy dose of steam in a retelling of Peter Pan that's far from the Neverland you know. Okay, so obviously this is a Peter Pan retelling, a reimagined fairy tale, they're calling it. I love Tinkerbell. I've always loved stories about Tinkerbell. I love her spunk and her pixie dust and all the things. So I think this book sounds super cute. If you think it sounds super cute, Second Star to the Left will be available on February 15th. Book number 8, no surprise here, is going to be House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. This is the second book in her Crescent City series. The first book I'm actually reading right now, and while I do have some serious mixed feelings on that book, I'm still going to read book 2. So, House of Sky and Breath says, Bryce Quinlan and Hunt Althalar are trying to get back to normal. They have saved Crescent City, but with so much upheaval in their lives lately, they mostly just want a chance to relax, slow down, and figure out what the future holds. The Asteri have kept their word so far, leaving Bryce and Hunt alone. But with the rebels chipping away at the Asteri's power, the threat the rulers pose is growing. As Bryce, Hunt, and their friends get pulled into the rebels' plans, the choice becomes clear. Stay silent while others are oppressed, or fight for what's right. And they've never been very good at staying silent. In this sexy, action-packed sequel to the #1 bestseller, House of Earth and Blood, Sarah J. Maas weaves a captivating story of a world about to explode and the people who will do anything to save it. Again, first of all, the cover of this book looks absolutely gorgeous. I don't want to say much else because I want to do a full review of book 1 sometime very, very soon because I'm only have like 2 chapters left. But anyway, if you are excited about House of Sky and Breath, it'll be available on February 15th. Number 9 is going to be The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. If this name sounds familiar to you, she's wrote a bunch of popular books, but her most recent one, I believe, is The Guest List. For The Paris Apartment, we have Jess, and Jess needs a fresh start. She's broke, alone, and she's just left her job under less than ideal circumstances. Her half-brother Ben didn't sound thrilled when she asked if she could crash with him for a bit, but he didn't say no, and surely everything will look better from Paris. Only when she shows up to find a very nice apartment, could Ben really have afforded this? He's not there. The longer Ben stays missing, the more Jen starts to dig into her brother's situation, and the more questions she has. Ben's neighbors are an eclectic bunch, and it's not particularly friendly. Jess may have come to Paris to escape her past, but it's starting to look like it's Ben's future that's in question. The socialite, the nice guy, the alcoholic, the girl on the verge, the concierge. Dun, dun, dun. Everyone's a neighbor, everyone's a suspect, and everyone knows something they're not telling. Obviously, we have a classic whodunit murder mystery here. I know at least The Guest List and some of other of Foley's books have been pretty popular in the past. So if you are someone that's looking forward to her next book, The Paris Apartment, it'll be available on February 22nd. And finally, that brings me to book number 10, The Verifiers by Jane Peck. And this is a book that I just happened to come across that I read the description for, and I thought it sounded super cool. So, here we have Claudia. Claudia is used to disregarding her fractious family's model minority expectations. She has no interest in finding either a conventional career or a nice Chinese boy. She's also used to keeping secrets from them, such that she prefers girls and that she's just been stealth recruited by Vericity, a referrals-only online dating detective agency. A lifelong mystery reader who wrote her senior thesis on Jane Austen, Claudia believes she's landed her ideal job. But when a client vanishes, Claudia breaks protocol to investigate and uncovers a maelstrom of personal and corporate deceit. Part literary mystery, part family story, The Verifiers is a clever and inclusive examination of how technology shapes our choices and the nature of romantic love in the digital age. Again, another kind of murder mystery, but also sounds like a little romancy, and we've got a little bit of, like I said, family drama in here. I think this sounds like a really, really cool book, and if you think it sounds like a cool book, The Verifiers will be available on February 22nd. That is all for today. Beepers and I are going to go hunker down here in New York and try to stay warm. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Ooh, someone else came to visit. If you're not already, please subscribe to my channel. Beepers, Snowball, and I would very much appreciate it. And I will be talking to you all later. Happy reading!